you got to realize that whatever you're doing, you're competing with somebody. What is it that gives you an advantage over your competition? Whatever you're good at, try to be great at it. And if you're great at it, good things will happen.
Maverick Podcast.
I'm far from average. That's why I had to come sit down and chop it up with DJ Maverick. They know my name from coast to coast and even in Dallas. I use my talent when I'm faced with a challenge. Gratitude strength is my magnet. Close your eyes and imagine. If you can see it in your mind, then you can have it.
Maverick Podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Maverick. Today we have another rock star in the building. We have Shanna Garrett, team lead of Heart and Home Realty Co. real estate team. Welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I am too. Before we dive into everything, for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Shanna, and like you said, team lead for Heart and Home Realty Co. We are brokered by EXP. I'm a mom to 2 kids. I'm kind of a foodie at heart, so love being out in the city and trying new restaurants, and love to cook and stuff on the side too. So that's like my fun and creative side, and then just love building real estate for families and stuff. So that's really kind of where we are in life right now, is just growth and
Okay, perfect. So let's rewind a little bit back. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Moberly, Missouri.
Okay.
Northern Missouri, small town. Then branched out from there, came down here to Oklahoma City, and I've been here just over 10 years.
Okay.
now.
Why OKC? I have to ask.
I was working for an insurance company at the time. They were headquartered out of Columbia, Missouri.
Okay.
And there was a job posting, and it was as an insurance adjuster here in the metro. And I have family ties here, and I thought, well, it's time to get out of the hometown and branch out and grow. And so I took it. I went for it, and we packed up, came down here 6 months by myself.
Wow.
And then family followed, and now here we are 10 years later, and started a whole different thing, no longer in insurance, and 2 kids, and just living life.
Yeah. Paint that picture for me. You get here to OKC. Like, what were your first thoughts when you first got here? Do you remember that day?
You're going to laugh at this. So one thing that I thought was just totally just took me back, took me a little while to kind of really be open to this, is that I'm a handshake person.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Here in Oklahoma, you do not shake hands. You give a hug.
Yeah.
And that was something I'm like,
You're like, whoa.
why are you touching me? I even caught myself the other day. I have clients who just relocated here from California, and I went in for the hug, and I'm like, what did I just do?
So how did you gravitate towards real estate?
I've always had a love for real estate. I considered it early on, straight out of high school. Was a little, I guess, nervous. My second mom was a realtor growing up, so I was around it a little bit with her. And then I'm that person, I'm driving down the street, and I don't care what direction you're going. If there's an open house sign in the peripherals, I see it.
Really?
And there was one time went car shopping in St. Louis, and ended up driving around looking at all the open houses instead of looking at cars.
Yeah.
And I've always just had a love for architecture, design, all of it. And so when my son came along, my sitter, my nanny, quit like 2 days before I was supposed to go back to the corporate job.
Jeez.
And I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I found myself enrolling in real estate school and working through that. So here we are.
How was that? I think a lot of people don't know. Like, you have to know about square footage, about property lines. Like, you have to learn a bunch with the real estate, right?
You do. And I did online course at first, and I have a brand new newborn baby.
Yeah. It's hard to concentrate on
yes.
that.
So I'll be honest with you. I took that class twice.
Okay.
Because the first time I actually ran out of time between trying to navigate having a baby and an older child and all that stuff. So I ran out of time the first time, and then restarted the class and had to punch through it then. And then I found I did the hybrid. I did where I did half in seat. So 2 days a week, I think it was 2 days a week. I was in class, and then the rest of it I did online.
Okay, cool. And then you started selling homes. Did you want to do commercial? Do you want to do residential? Which way did you go?
I went residential.
Residential. Okay. Why did you pick residential?
I love the family aspect of it. And I work with investors too, but the residential side, you're not just shopping for a house, a property. You're shopping for someone's home, the place where they're going to make the memories. It is the heart of the family. And that is the part that brings me joy. And like finding like first time home buyers or even families who are ready to upgrade in home.
Yeah.
They've worked hard for this. They've gravitated to looking at their dream, figuring out a plan, and getting to it. And I love that. I love walking through and seeing that look on their faces when they find that home that's their home.
Yeah.
It is just unexplainable. It's great.
I mean, a home is probably like your largest purchase you ever make, right? So
Yeah.
it's a big decision.
It is.
And my experience has been with realtors, there's like probably like two camps. There's the person that just like, hey, here's the listings, check them out, let me know what you think. But then there's the hustlers. They're like, hey, these are the comps. Let me show you. I've found this hidden gem. Let's go check it out.
Right.
And they try to like, find some hidden gems for you. What's been your sort of like motivation? Like how do you approach every deal?
Every deal's a little bit different, especially if you're working with an investor or a family or maybe a first-time home buyer or even a single person buying a home. It's all a little bit different.
True.
And the story of why they're purchasing, the what they're wanting to do with it. If it's a first-time home buyer, a lot of times it is their first step in their real estate journey because they're purchasing a home.
Yeah.
Maybe they're getting married. Maybe they've just graduated from college, or maybe that baby is on the way or something. And it is the place where they're going to start those memories, start that journey. And then the next thing you know, though, we've closed it. They're making their memories, and then maybe they've outgrown it. Maybe they've got that job promotion where they can have more affordability.
Sure.
Or they're relocating, and you're helping them to the next step. Mm-hmm. And then maybe from there, it's investing.
Yeah.
So it's not just one transaction. It's an entire journey over a span of time.
There's probably like things you want to make sure with your credit, probably what area, like what are some of the tips that you would recommend for them?
When I'm sitting down with a potential client and talking about the plan, one thing is definitely finding a lender partner or, how they're going to finance it, because a lot of times you can start talking about your wants and needs and you have this idea of what that home is and it may be out of your budget, or maybe there's just a little bit of a hiccup somewhere and you got to fix it. And you don't know because you've not had that lender pull the credit or, look at their debt to income ratios or whatever that may be. And so that becomes a barrier. And sometimes that's an emotional thing because when you are exposing yourself a little bit, you're being vulnerable. And so mindset wise, that can really shift a mindset.
Yeah.
So starting out first with the realtor partner and a lender partner to make that plan and that journey, that is the key factor, and for everyone to be communicating during that process.
Got it. You recommend that even before they're like, hey, I'm going to go to some open houses and start doing that. What would be your vote there? Which should go first? Man,
I would say meeting with the realtor and the lender partner first. Mm-hmm. I can't say that I never did look at open houses because I'm a nerd in that way, but especially with some of the changes that are coming up, you want to talk with the lender partner and your realtor partners to be able to make that plan and be able to see the homes.
Yeah, and I guess you probably want to be ready too, because if you find your dream home, you want to be able to expedite that process, right? And if you're not ready, you don't have a loan in place, you don't have a realtor, that's just time that you're going to waste, right?
Or you've lost out because the house is, in some price points here, we still have multi-offers. And so you want this home, you think you're going to have enough time, but you don't. Because, sometimes a lender partner, it could take a day, it could take 2 or 3 days, and what other additional docs they may need to review before you ever know what you're going to be qualified for.
I'm sure you've seen the real estate market change over time. The first day you got here till now, how would you describe the real estate here in Oklahoma? What's the market like?
Man, definitely depends on the price point that you're in. But appreciation, man.
Yeah.
I wish when I first moved here that I had purchased. We purchased, we were probably 4 years, I think, here when we did. And even the appreciation, gosh, I did comps and stuff.
Skyrocket?
Yes.
Wow.
Who would ever thought that bought the home for like $155,000 and now the highest comp in the neighborhood was like $215,000.
Wow.
And
that's a good
we
investment.
bought that 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's just crazy. That is, where else are you going to get a return like that?
Definitely. I know when I'm driving around, I definitely notice a lot of out of town, plates more often now. Have you sort of noticed that more people? I see a lot of California plates, a lot
Just
of Colorado.
closed California folks on Monday.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a lot of people that are moving or what?
Yeah, so we have a lot of influx from California.
I see a lot of Colorado.
There's some, you can check with like the local economic development departments who kind of track all that. I know at one point in time, like the key states were California, Oregon, Colorado, Illinois, and Texas.
Wow. Okay.
Were some of the key ones. You know, that does obviously change with job patterns and stuff.
What's the better strategy? You just hold off and not buy, hoping that the interest rates drop, and then if you do, like I don't know, you can always refi.
You can always
right?
refi.
So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, you can always refi, but also here's the thing: you've got to look at where you're at in your life. You've got to look at what's going on. You know, if you have children, you know, are you going to be here for a while?
Yeah.
You know, there definitely is a season for renting. Totally agree with that. But I don't think you should just hold on to that long term because of interest rates or political whatever. You've got to look at what your financial situation is, what your family life is like, and what you want to build. Because I could show you calculations and everything where, you know, you hold off and you wait, your appreciation,
It just outweighs
it's
the
just
interest
gone.
rates.
And then,
I can see
you're
that.
paying a landlord. You're never going to get that money back.
Yeah. We were talking before the cameras went on about, you know, figuring out the why, right? Like, what's your why? So if I put you on the spot and I say, hey, what's your driver? What's your why? What would you describe that as?
My 2 kids.
2 kids. Okay.
Yeah. So I have a daughter who's 15 and a son. He'll be 8 here in a few weeks. And to give them a life, you know, unlike what I had and stuff, you know, worrying about what tomorrow's going to bring, worry about are the bills paid. And so for me, it's just giving them a life that they have opportunity in.
That's super important. I think that's a great driver. And I'm sure being in real estate, it's kind of hard to unplug sometimes, right? Is that the case with you? Like your phone's always buzzing or emails, or you're kind of on call sometimes, right?
We went to Gulf Shores last week. I had more showings in that 1 week.
No, of course.
Shores.
So how did you handle that?
Well, I'm blessed to have a team. I have 2 great girls who are on my team and who are buyer specialists. And so I was able to say, hey, this is what we've got going on. They know I'm gone.
Okay.
And vice versa. You know, if they're gone, we're stepping in and doing the same. So that's the privilege of being on a team. So yeah, I did have to laugh though, because I was on, you do have to make moments and disconnect and stuff. So that is, you have to
So
keep that in mind.
when you're on vacation, you're always like laptop ready, cell phone ready?
Laptop is at least in the condo.
Okay.
I don't try to take it out of the condo.
Yeah.
But yes, phone is typically in hand. I've worked deals. I've written contracts on the beach at different vacations and stuff. But my kids, they understand. They know. I can't harp on them enough, but I am blessed with 2 kids who understand that they get to do some pretty awesome things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that's because we hustle. And sometimes we hustle as a family. My 7-year-old can show a house probably better than I can.
No way. That's
For sure.
really cool. Balancing everything. It sounds like maybe you bring them on board sometimes and they kind of like get to see what you're doing. But how do you balance everything?
You have to make that choice that one way or the other you're going to succeed. And you have to also share that journey with them. In like vision board, talk about the vision board with my kids.
Okay.
And see, I'm going to put this out there. Last year, my daughter came to me a year before, so about a year and a half ago. She wanted to go to this camp. And I talk about this a lot. It's probably so overtalked, but this camp is a 2-week marine biology catamaran-based camp in the British Virgin Islands.
Wow. Okay. She's going big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We did one summer camp, but she didn't like it, and then we turned into this, and she's like, I want to do this. Okay. You realize what this is going to cost, right? And stuff. So I made her a deal. I said, you earn that camp fee, I'll buy the plane ticket.
Okay.
Okay. So she's putting signs out. She's cleaning out properties, along with odd jobs around the house, marketing, my what's happening that comes up on my store on Instagram. That's her, things like that. So, I mean, it is implementing that hustle at an early stage and also reaping the benefits. So she spent 2 weeks in BVI getting her sailing license, and learning stuff that I
Yeah.
would have never dreamed.
I love that
as a child.
because all that is transferable skills. If you think about it, I mean, people skills, marketing skills, business skills, time management, all the stuff that she's learning, right? That's incredible.
Yeah.
Very cool. So besides, real estate, do you do anything outside of that? Do you do hobbies or anything? Do you have time for that or what?
Well, really around my kids right now. That's the season of life I'm in. Travel softball. My daughter plays travel ball for Diamond Heist.
Okay.
And my son is still kind of trying to figure out what he's doing. I do like to volunteer. I do have kind of another side gig I didn't tell you about.
Okay.
So
you don't have to. It's up to you if you want to share that.
But I teach kids cooking classes.
No way. Okay.
So I have a passion for that and volunteering at different organizations.
So you're serious about the foodie side.
I'm so serious about the foodie side.
How did you learn to cook? It was just like watching and doing or what?
Just having to figure it out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite spots here around town? Do you have any hidden gems?
I love Cheevers.
Okay.
Go to Cheevers every opportunity I can. Their chocolate cake is my favorite. And their salmon, I think it's called cowboy salad or something. I just call it salmon salad, but
Okay.
that's one of my favorite places. And then, I don't know, just anything new. There's so many new restaurants popping up.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I
I
mean,
love it. It's like
yeah, I've got a
the
list.
Food scene is like always popping up new spots, right? Mm-hmm. You have a list that you visit?
I have a list of where I want to go.
Okay.
So we're working on it.
Yeah. I think that's a cool, almost like a marketing hack too. I don't know your thoughts on this, but if you're a realtor and then you kind of show off the city and like, hey, this is stuff to do around the city, these cool places to go hang out, to go eat. Have you tried doing some of that for marketing purposes?
I have, and I have a project in the works so that maybe we can do that more. So I'll you have to follow me on social to see all that. So,
Awesome.
But that is a project I am working on.
Yeah, because I bet, I don't know, you tell me, but if I envision, real estate and the market we're in, it's probably pretty saturated, right? So you have to be different to stand out. How do you go about that?
Just being genuine, I think, is one of the biggest things in real estate. I think we can get so into that hustle and bustle, and people see the selling sunsets and all of those things that make it seem so superficial. And at the end of the day, I think if you are genuine, you pour into people, you add value, show the love, that sets you worlds apart. And I think that's the key to a lot of it right now is just showing genuine interest in people.
Yeah, just being authentic. I think everybody's just missing that connection, right? So I'm here brainstorming as we're talking. You love the foodie side and cooking. I could even envision if you have an open house, you show off the kitchen. Maybe you invite people to like cook something there or something,
That'd
show
be
it
fun.
off.
I've not done that. That's a good
That'd
idea.
be kind of cool, right?
Yeah, that's a
like,
good idea.
Even if it was just like cookies or something. Who doesn't like like just a warm cookie? That might be a cool idea to do.
Yeah. I'm going to try that.
Yeah. Real estate and building a community is also super important to you,
Yes.
right? Tell me about building a community.
So starting real estate here, I didn't know anybody. I worked in that insurance pocket of the world where, I'm meeting people in catastrophe. I'm not meeting people where
That's
they're
true.
at. And so people don't want to see me. You don't want to see your insurance adjuster.
That's true.
And so just starting literally from the ground up. I started with working at the YMCA in the morning. I was that girl that opened the YMCA at 5 a.m.
No way.
at Rankin.
Wow.
And so I built that community there by just, saying good morning. I know it's kind of hard to be chipper at 5 a.m., but, just being genuine and saying good morning, built that. Some of my first transactions came from those folks who were there at 5 a.m.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just getting to know people. And
Just
building
getting to
that
know people
relationship.
and building the relationships and stuff. And also just in the real estate community, it's not, you've got to learn from somebody.
Yeah.
So you've got to find that mentorship. And whether that's here locally on a national level, I think that is building that community out in the industry is so important. Because while a lot, we are, at the end of the day, we are salespeople.
Yeah.
We are in competition, but we're not in competition. I play sports. That's how I look at things. We're in competition, but not competition. And so it pushes me
Yeah.
to look at my fellow realtors who I appreciate and have huge respect for. But that's what pushes me. And so I think building that community, that support in that way is so important. You are who you surround yourself with. So if you're not surrounding yourself with like-minded people, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah. I like that because it's almost like you want to be competitive and sort of like make everybody rise up to the level, right?
And I'm all about collaboration. I think anyone who knows me or has worked across the table from me and stuff can tell you that. But at the same time, I want to get the deal done, the best interest of my clients. And at the end of the day, you want to win-win so that everyone's walking away from the table happy.
I've heard stories where real estate agents will join like a golf club or something to sort of hack into that community and build those relationships. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Have you thought about that? Have you done that maybe already?
I've done that.
You've done that? Okay. Tell me about that.
Well, a community for me, it's not just real estate. It is, what my kids are doing. So building that community within what the activities that they're involved in, because that takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
I'm also a member of Oklahoma City Young Professionals. So getting there and networking. I actually had coffee with one of the guys this morning from that group, and we were just really talking about those groups that, when you walk into that, you want to network, you want referrals, from those groups. That's why you go to them, and that was your time and investment. But also, it is another place that you're building those genuine relationships and putting those like-minded people around you so that you can grow, because networking and building a community isn't just about making another deal. It's about growing as a person and as a business person and as a community member. So there's so much more than just sticking yourself in a group to build a business.
Yeah. What's the mission? You said it was called the Young Professional. What's the mission behind that organization?
So, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know verbatim.
Okay, no big deal. I'll put you on the spot
yes,
here.
You did. But it is to network with like-minded people and build business through referrals and stuff.
Across industries, across everything.
There's in that group, there's anywhere from financial section of financial advisors, loan officers, insurance, all of that, all the way to real estate, remodeling, like all kinds of different spots. So.
Perfect. So in the short amount of time that we've been talking here, I've noticed that you're competitive, you're a hustler, you're definitely a networker. If you had to boil down some characteristics that have led to your success, what would those be?
I'm driven. I think that comes from a background in softball and all that stuff, is that competitiveness. I love pouring into people. And at the end of the day, it's just what brings me joy.
Yeah. So you played a lot of sports, it sounds like. Yeah.
Oh, I'm competitive. You do not want to play Monopoly or softball or any of that with me.
So any kind of like game or anything, you're like, I'm going to crush. Yeah. I like that. What sports did you play?
I did softball. I dabbled in basketball. I wasn't great at that, but loved playing softball.
Yeah. Tell me about, it sounds like now you're in a leadership type role, right? Tell me about building your team and what is some of the stuff that you do for your team to set them up for success?
I think one we've kind of already hit on is when building that community within the team, making sure that every person that you bring into that team understands that, we're kind of leaning into each other, and accountability, building out the pillars of your business and really sticking hard to those and really focusing in on that team member's why. If you don't know your team member's why and my team members don't know my why, then what's going to get you out of bed at the beginning of the day? And to understand that, to help that drive and that accountability, because real estate's no cakewalk.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get into it thinking, oh, I'm going to have this flexible schedule and it's going to be so easy. And I see all these things and that people are doing and it just looks so easy. But you get the A roll on social media. You don't get the B roll.
Right.
And there's a lot of hurdles to overcome. And so as a team, making sure that team member understands that you're going to be there for them at 9:00 at night when you've got your first offer you're going to be writing. They're calling up, hey, I have this first one. What do I do?
Yeah.
Get in your car and come over here. Come sit on the couch. Let's write this out together. And just knowing that you have their back. I think, I'll be honest, I started out as an independent agent. And looking back, I would have started on a team if I had a true understanding of what this industry took and what I needed to be poured into. And that was like 3 years later that I feel like I got that truly.
Okay.
And I think any of my team members would tell you that understanding your why is what has to motivate you.
Yeah. And it's also commission based, right? So that's another key component that if you're not selling, you're not really making money,
Correct.
right? So maybe tell me a little bit about the challenges there, right? Like, especially when you're starting out, maybe your network isn't as big as you would like it to be. Maybe you don't have the experience. Maybe you're not as good at showing houses at first.
Right. Understanding, there's a cost of getting into real estate. And then, if you dive right in and don't do a part-time job or anything like that, you literally, it could be 30 days before your first commission. It could be 6 months. For me, it was 6 months.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
wow.
6 months. And I took it on as part-time,
Yeah.
so to speak. Like I said, I opened the YMCA at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. I was at the YMCA.
Is that an option? I never knew that was an option to do
it
part-time.
is. I mean, you don't really talk about it necessarily because clients want you working for them all the time.
Sure.
But there's avenues to go, but you have to understand that when you wake up, like, we're going for it today. There's no option of failure.
But there are real estate companies that are open to you being part-time.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's a cool thing to,
and
to know.
that's another thing that people coming into real estate don't understand the options. Like they think that, I've got to go to one because they say they offer all the education and stuff. But there's lots of different business models to look at, whether it's a team, a brokerage, a boutique brokerage. There's, I always recommend agents to interview 3 or 4 before they make a decision on where to hang their license.
Yeah. I always hear too, and it seems to vary from people to people, but some people say that sometimes if you go to some of the bigger companies, they provide you the name and that's kind of it. They're like, hey, business cards. And then some others, like, they actually, provide support, training. Like, do you find that it varies from different real estate companies?
For sure.
Yeah.
It does. Some offer classes on the daily or boot camps and different things. Some offer it like biweekly. There's all different platforms that brokerages are built off of.
Got it. So I'm a big music guy, and I always ask my guests, if I pull up your playlist, who am I going to find on your playlist? So I'm going to put you on the spot. What kind of stuff do you listen to?
Well, I listen to like a wide range, but if you're going to pull it up, just like, especially just did that 13-hour car ride to Gulf Shores. I listen to a lot of Zach Bryan, Cody Johnson, Morgan Wallen. That's kind of been like on the repeat. Kenny Chesney's Blue Chair song. Really love that one right now.
That's your jam?
It is. So kind of more on the countryside, but
Yeah.
I listen to everything from Jelly Roll, Kevin Gates to all of them.
A lot of those guys that you're mentioning are all on the Twisters soundtrack. Have you
really?
watched the new
No,
Twister movie?
I have not yet.
I've heard good
going to go
reviews.
next week, I think. I was kind of going to let the height hit it and then go like next week.
Yeah, I've heard it's great, but the soundtrack is like super loaded with a bunch of those guys that you just mentioned.
I did listen to some of those while we were driving.
Awesome. So besides, building network, building community, what else would you give as far as a tip for somebody who wants to get into real estate? What are some of the first tips that you think that they should take? What are some of those steps?
I think really before going, even to sign up for school, for the education, I would go and just job shadow a full-time agent.
Okay.
Go and have coffee with a full-time agent. Because like I said, you're going to see all the good things, all the happy, joyous moments, but you're not seeing the behind the scenes. And I think you need to hear both sides of it. I don't want to ever deter someone from doing it because at the end of the day, they've got to be the one to look at the mirror and say, I can do this or I can't. And so I really think sitting down with a seasoned agent and talking through what you think real estate looks like and what you want it to look like for you. There's nothing wrong with that. I would be happy to do that any day that someone wants to talk about getting their real estate license. I had someone pull up in the neighborhood the other day saying, hey, I've been thinking about this. Let's grab coffee.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not do that. And a lot of people are like, hey, I'm too busy or something. But that's cool that you do that.
Yeah. No, you're adding value.
Yeah. I'm sure also technology, there's a lot of tools that you can leverage, right? I don't know if you want to mention, or is that sort of your secret sauce, but maybe what are some of the technology tools that you sort of use to be more competitive?
CRM. If you don't have a CRM, you have to go CRM.
Yeah.
I avoided it for a few years. I didn't like the cost. I didn't like, I did it on a spreadsheet and all the things. And then I got a real estate coach. So I would say that's my top 2 tips there is CRM and a real estate coach.
Customer relationship management
system.
Right? Okay.
So for our team, we just moved into what's called Bold Trail, through Inside Real Estate. And, I live in that thing. I'm in that thing all day, every day.
Is that one of the ones that sort of automates, like you can create a newsletter and it times out like
Correct.
emails and stuff
Yeah.
like that? Yeah. Okay. Are you building out an email distro? Is that something that you also do?
Yeah. So like I said, we're still in the same CRM family. We were Boomtown users and then moved over to Bold Trail. And so those are some new tools for us, is the newsletter portion of it. So yes, we are working to build that out, but there is a lot of automation that we've used for the last few years that, my business has probably doubled when I brought in a CRM.
Yeah, I would say that that's a really important thing because if a lot of people, if you're not on their mind, and when it does come time to purchase a home or something like that, if you're in their email, if they get your newsletter, you're providing value that way, they're going to think about you, right? So if you don't have some of those tools, they kind of forget about you. Like, well, I don't really know a real estate agent.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, pair that with a coach. Even if it's just a mentor to starting out, because maybe you don't have the budget, find an agent who's willing to meet with you once a month, or just accountability, or a team. But that is a huge thing, because they invest in you in so many more ways than just the real estate side of it.
Is that also something that you can do virtually too? You think maybe find like a coach somewhere? And,
I do Zooms with my coaches. So I've had coaches who are out in Utah or just all over. I have mentors that are in San Diego, Raleigh, North Carolina. Like, those are people that I model after and who I look up to in real estate. And that's my mentorship. And we do a lot of it. Or I jump on a plane and go hang out with them for a weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But something like that.
Cool. Do you like more the selling side or more of the purchasing side? Like, which one do you enjoy?
I like all of it.
All of it?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, both sides have their benefits. Listing, you get to be the marketing side of it, the more creative, like, how am I going to get this property out in front of people and build ads, build out events, build out open houses and stuff.
That's where I would try to be as creative and competitive. Like, let's have a party at the house. Let's like market it. Let's get drones. Like, that sort of stuff, right?
You get to be a little more on the tech side of it. It brings out, your eye on the disc test. It really brings that out.
Yeah.
The buy side, though, you also get to see folks working towards their dreams. And so that's also fun. So I just like real estate in general.
Yeah. If I had to put you on the spot, maybe the most memorable memory that you have in real estate, like maybe a family that you were able to get their dream home or something. I don't know. What comes to mind if I put you on the spot like that?
I have worked with some single parents here lately and just getting them into their home and with their kids and finding a safe place right now. That has probably been one of the most heartwarming ones.
Yeah.
And just, folks who, I have a woman who, dear friend of mine, and when we first became friends, I was actually a foster parent at the time, and she was helping me out with my foster kids, and went into the daycare that day to drop the kids off, and she looked at me and she's like, I don't know that I could do that, like this and that, and gave me all the excuses of why she couldn't purchase a home. I looked at her and I said, those are all FIOs. Those are all figure outable.
Tell me about that, because you were saying that's kind of like your sort of like motto, right?
Yes, that is my motto. Everything is FIO.
Okay.
And so we sat down, we met with a lender partner, or CPA, and all that stuff, and made the plan. And about 6 months later, closing on our house.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah. And still a dear friend of mine till this day. And, any of those, I could just keep going down the list.
Yeah.
So
cool. What are some of the sort of misconceptions you think that people have? You sort of touched on a few where people think it's just clam life. Everybody's like, just champagne, everything closing, right? What are some of the misconceptions you think?
It's definitely harder than it looks. I know that there's so many highs to the days. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to promise you, there's going to be days you're going to be sitting in your garage in your car crying your eyes out. Oh man! But at the end of the day, it's FIO. And I also think from working with clients, again, those mentalities of, I'm never gonna be able to buy a house. Like my credit's crap, and there's just no way. If you truly want to purchase that home, it may be a no today, but it doesn't mean that it's no in 6 months, a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
You've got to make the plan. You've got to just change the mindset.
First time buyers, you like put them in a class to do that stuff?
Yes, we do. I don't have anything on the calendar right now.
Okay.
We have done a couple over this past 6 months. Partner with a lender, go through what it looks like purchasing a home, the journey of it. And then again, if you think that there are some things that may be on your credit or, whatever, we'll partner you with that lender partner and have you sit down and do a credit simulator or, make that plan.
Yeah. I haven't checked the website recently, but when I used to go on MLS, some of the pictures were pretty bad about the houses. It looked like it was taken with a potato, right? Why do you think some people do that? I don't know if it's changed now, but to me, I would try to market each home the best that I can. Best lighting, great pictures, videos, like the whole nine, right?
Yeah.
Is it still the same or has it improved?
I mean, I think overall it has improved.
Yeah.
I think you don't see that as much.
Okay.
I do, we use professional photography. I don't care what the price point is. You're getting professional photos done. It's part of our marketing package.
Okay.
And, you do see sometimes maybe new agents who are getting into the market and maybe that is a barrier for them because they're taking it out of their own budget. And I think, a lot of the good agents are covering that marketing cost to do the photos and stuff. And, as a new agent, that may not be something quite in their budget because it is a cost.
Sure.
And you're fronting that cost until the property is sold. So yeah, you do see that from time to time.
What about staging? Are you a fan of staging? I see that, especially with like some of the higher end stuff where they go in and stage the whole home. Right? Yeah.
I have mixed emotions about it. A lot of times I'll use the furniture that my clients have.
Okay.
Or yes, we can partner with a stager. So yeah, there's some variables we look at for that.
You always hear like real estate is kind of the greatest things to like build wealth, right? So if you were to give some tips to people, how can they go about that? Is it like you purchase your first home, maybe turn that into a rental when you upgrade? Like what would be your approach for that?
That's definitely one avenue to look at. Again, set up a consultation with your lender and talk about what that would look like for you. Get with your realtor partner and do a CMA, a market analysis of your property to see what the comps are in the area, how much equity you've built, and to see if you can pull that and do that. That is a great way to do it. I'm a big advocate for, especially families who have young kids. College saving plans are great. I'm not going to talk anything. I'm not a financial advisor.
Sure.
But I do think one avenue of that is buying an investment property when the kids are young.
Okay.
Keeping it as a rental, cash, getting that rental income coming in. And then, when it's time for them to go to college or tech school or, whatever avenue that they decide to take, either that's keys you're handing over to your children or you're taking it and selling it to put towards that college fund.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a creative approach. You don't hear about people doing that. And that's cool because it's sort of like you said, the appreciation over the years is just going to be pretty significant, probably more so than being in like a money market account or something like that, right?
Well, and for our local economy here, we're growing. Oklahoma City is growing. I don't know if you're not seeing that, then you need to get out and drive around a little bit more. And so, getting in now with that appreciation, when that child turns 18 and like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Do you focus on any particular areas here in the state or do you travel as far as they're willing to purchase a home within Oklahoma or what?
So we are located here in Oklahoma City in Edmond, but we serve all the metro, gone down clear as Aleck, all the way up to Enid, Perkins, Stillwater, Carlton Landing, over to Tulsa Market. So we do cover a bunch of the state. Like I said, there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
And so we all have our little areas that we really focus on, but we can serve the entire state, but we do focus here on the metro.
I know you have an interesting story with your sister. Let's dive into that.
Yeah. So first of all, Christine and I are both in real estate. My sister, so she's a broker on the South Side. And we actually got into real estate about the same time. And what makes that kind of funny is that we do have an interesting background. I grew up not knowing my biological side on my dad's side and grew up in northern Missouri, like I said. And one day was looking through Facebook. I knew his name.
Yeah.
And every now and then I would look you're curious. And one of the days I typed his name into Facebook, and oh my God, there was his face. And
you just recognized
it.
You said
it's
that
me
you saw some
back
resemblance.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And so I had reached out and added them on Facebook, added my dad, added my brother, which I knew about. And then my sister was on there, which she's younger than me. So, there was some.
Never have met
any of them.
Wow.
And
that takes a lot of guts. I don't know if I would do that.
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
So we, she, gets a friend request, and she messages me like a day or so later and was like, "Hey, how do I know you?" And I was like, "Well, I know this person, and are you related to them? What's your connection with this person?" And she's like, "Oh, that's my dad. How do you like?" I go, "Well, I think we may be related." I didn't really say how or anything. And she's like, "Oh my God, I know about you."
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So fast forward a little bit, we do meet, and I honestly, like, you would never know that my sister and I did not grow up together. We act alike. We talk every day, all day long, and instant best friends. Okay. So after I had my son, I think I said earlier that, a couple of days before I'm supposed to go back to the corporate world, the nanny quits.
Yeah.
And so I pick up the phone and I call her, and I'm like boo-hooing over all of this. And she's like, "Well, guess what I did today?" And she's like, "I signed up for real estate school." I'm like, "No kidding."
Really?
So did I.
You both did at the same time? Wow, that's incredible.
So she, like I said, she was able to get it done a little bit faster. She didn't have any kids at the time, and that was her sole focus. And so she started out about 6 months ahead of me. And then I was able to join. We started the same brokerage together, but now, we've gone our separate paths. But again, it's one of those things where we collaborate all day, every day, and talk about what we're doing, how we're growing, and stuff. So it's been fun because we've both, while we have quite different journeys in the real estate world, we're both succeeding and able to lean on each other with it. And it's so fun to celebrate each other or be there on the hard days.
Even with your dad, did it turn out to be okay? Or
I've got a good relationship with everybody, cool. And it's probably
that could have gone bad.
Oh, could have, yes. But it is one of the reasons that when the position opened here, I was like, well, this would be a great opportunity to get to know that side of the family.
Okay,
and it's also a promotion for me, and so.
When you were doing all the detective work, you weren't in Oklahoma yet?
Nope, I was still in Moberly in Missouri. So, So it's been a fun journey, an interesting journey, and I have a built-in best friend. I have brothers and a dad and like a whole family. So it's I know that's not everyone's experience in these kind of situations, but I am definitely blessed that this is where it's gone. Yeah,
I'm glad that it worked out. Yeah. How are you able to make up sort of for lost time? Because it's been how many years, you think, since you've sort of lost touch with everybody?
So I didn't meet them until I was 23.
Wow. Okay.
24. My daughter was 2. So about 13 years ago. It's been 13 years. And I don't look at it as lost time, but it's just, we're just getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And still building on that. And I am just thankful for that openness to do that, because that doesn't happen for everybody.
Yeah. I like that. That's really cool. I'm glad it worked out. I didn't know which way we were going to head, because you're like, I've never met him. I sent that friend request. I'm sure you were super nervous.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. It sounds like you're super ambitious. So I'm sure you've got like a plan. It sounds like maybe you're a fan of vision boards too, right?
Yeah. I would really like to see our team build out more. That right now we're 3 agents and a transaction coordinator. Would love to see that build out more. I love adding value. I love providing the coaching and just teaching on it, because there's so much to it. You've got to know the contracts. You got to know them inside and out.
Yeah.
And not to really go too far into it, but I've mentioned we have some changes coming down the road. And
you keep teasing that.
I know.
It doesn't sound like a good thing.
That's a whole nother podcast.
It's a whole different. Okay.
That's a whole other podcast.
We'll have to have you back.
But to really stay in the know of what's going on, So you've got to really stay up on what the contracts say, the changes that are happening, and providing the best service you can as a realtor. Being involved in your associations, Edmond Board of Realtors, Oklahoma City, Norman, all of them. I don't. I have my affiliation and serve as an officer here at the Edmond Board, but whoever your board is, get with them, get in the education classes. Be a part of it, because that is how we're going to keep this industry what it is and adding value to the public. Those are your biggest advocates for real estate and for home ownership in general. Yeah. And so as realtors, we really need to turn that focus and put that into our associations and really build who we are.
Yeah. It almost sounds like to me, if you're in real estate, you're almost like an entrepreneur. I don't know if you feel the same way, but it kind of seems like a lot of the stuff, yes, there's support there from whoever your broker is, but then you also have to hustle. You have to do social media. You have to do stuff independently, right?
You have to want it.
Yeah.
You have to want it. Nobody else can want it more for you. And I tell my girls this all the time, because I'm their team lead and I want to see them succeed. I wouldn't have them on my team if I didn't want to see them succeed. Yeah. And so you have to want it more than I want it for you at the end of the day.
Does everybody have to be like a go-getter?
I mean, you have to have some go-getting in you. Or, we do some competitions. I never do it to pit you against the other
it's like a
agent.
fun gamification.
But it's a fun thing. We've got some challenges now where one of my agents, she's got a particular goal, and if she doesn't meet that goal, she's got to write a check to a place that we choose.
Okay.
It's a profit, not-for-profit. The other agent, she's got a goal that she needs to meet by the end of the thing, or she's going out and picking up trash on the side of the highway.
No way.
That's serious.
Okay.
And
cool.
so, but at the same time, I'm going to be right there with them. And that's the beauty of a team.
That's cool. Is that just you sort of bringing your creative side to the team, or is that like something that your company does overall?
No, that's just us.
Yeah? Okay. That's your team.
I just think you have to, you got to have some skin in the game. And first of all, it's your why. Second of all, you've got to make it a little fun, because we are, like I said, we are salespeople. And if you don't have some fun to it, then what's the fun of, making your numbers, So there's just so many aspects. There's adding value, because we're people. Yeah. We like people. And you've also just got to also make it interesting for yourself, just like you would in any career. If you're going into it every day doing the same thing, it's so boring.
Yeah, I like that. But it sounds like, being in real estate, there's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of independence. You can be creative, right? So I think it's probably different than the traditional 9 to 5, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah. What about social media? I'm sure you have to sort of treat your social media as a tool because you want to market, you want to sort of provide value that way, right?
Yep.
Tell me how you sort of leverage your social media to do that.
So we have, I know for myself, I definitely have all the things. I have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't know. I use them all a little bit different, to be honest with you. Instagram, I put more for sure, like the business side of it. It's more business, basically. Engaging though, you also have to be engaging with other people on there, so that they're also seeing you and you're adding value. Talking about what's going on in the community, and also being a motivator. I'm a big proponent of, really just being a positive mindset. So TikTok, if you know my TikTok, a lot of it's all positive stuff. Like, hey, you've got to realize that you've got to start with loving yourself. Are you putting yourself out there, whether it's in business and dating and in being a mom, whatever it is, you've got to have a good mindset, or you're not going to get anywhere.
What about LinkedIn? Everybody's probably like, LinkedIn is super boring. I feel like if you have even the little tiniest of personality and you start posting on LinkedIn, you're going to stand out. Just because everybody's afraid, everybody's uptight. LinkedIn. I do too, but a lot of people are like, they're different on LinkedIn than they are everywhere else. Yes,
but it's kind of like going to a networking event, because you're there with business-minded, like-minded people. They're entrepreneurs and stuff. So yes, I probably don't get as creative as I do on TikTok or Facebook or even Instagram, but we SEO optimize what we're stating on there for LinkedIn. We're putting more, probably more numbers or, market updates and stuff on there. Okay. I do put a little bit about my family.
Yeah.
you've got to show yourself as a human as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think a lot of people, they're almost like robotic. Like, you see somebody get a promotion and you can tell when they just click the like built-in congrats with the confetti. There's like no personality.
Right.
And to me, it's just like a wasted opportunity. If you let your sort of like personality shine, even if it's just a little bit on LinkedIn, you're going to thrive on that network.
Like I said, I like LinkedIn. I spend probably more time on LinkedIn and Instagram than I do all my platforms.
Yeah. Do you find you close deals through social media too, or is it more traditional website, phone calls, that sort of thing?
We probably lean more on the traditional side of it, especially through our CRM and lead generation through that, or our Sphere. But I feel like your Sphere kind of connects with your social for sure, because they're seeing what you're doing. They want to be supportive. They want to be raving fans of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how, especially with Facebook and stuff, that's how I got started.
Yeah. Was there ever plan B if, you went into real estate, but was there ever like, hey, if I do this and I'm miserable, was there a plan B for you?
No.
No.
No, not really. I mean, this was a second career for me because I worked in the industry, insurance industry for about 5 years total, I think is where I was starting. And I had a plan with that company and where I was going to put myself and where I wanted to work through and, maybe go back to the home office at some point. And so there was a plan with that. And I always, I don't know, I am a creative person. And so I'm always coming up with business ideas, but but to be able to actually act on it, it's scary. It's so scary. But when I came to that impasse, I mean, like I said, we were still kind of new here and, I didn't know anybody else. I'd vetted that nanny and then that nanny quit. And then, that the biological side of my family is all in the Newcastle area and stuff. And so I couldn't go down there for a sitter. So what do I do? What do you do?
Yeah.
And so there's not really a plan B. This is where my heart is. This is where my passion is. And, now, just me and my kids. And so it is a way that I can still be interactive in their life and still build a career and them see it.
Yeah. But also you weren't afraid to grind, right? So you mentioned that 6 months you didn't have money, but you were working the gym, right? So that's you not being afraid. Hey, I'm going to think outside the box until the money starts coming in. I'm going to grind it out, right?
Right. I worked a couple part-time jobs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was that like a struggle where you're like, hey, I don't know if this is going to work out because it's been 6 months. A lot of people might say, hey, 6 months, maybe I'm going to start looking elsewhere, right?
I mean, I looked for part-time for sure. I think I did actually interview for one full-time job opportunity in that time frame, that first 3 years.
Yeah.
But when I showed up, honestly, okay, this is a piece of it was a rejection. And I was so mad at the time.
I love that.
And now I can look back and...
That was like your motivation?
Yes, because so it was still in a sales role, and it was going actually back to that insurance company who I still have great admiration for, everybody there. But I was going in to then move from an insurance adjuster to an insurance agent role. And I was going for an office that he didn't think I was a good fit for.
Okay.
Or a market that I also wasn't a good fit for. And I didn't quite understand because I'm like, I relate to people of all backgrounds and so on and so forth. And so I didn't like being told no. And then I couldn't probably produce because I didn't have a base there.
Yeah.
And yes, I was still trying to get the real estate stuff going. And so that was a motivating for me when I was told that I don't see you being a fit for this role and for this location and being relatable to people in that market. And I'm like, what the heck is that supposed to mean?
Yeah. But I love that you didn't sort of take that the wrong way and use it as motivation.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's motivation. I've sold houses in that area of the city. I've sold houses in every area of the city at this point.
Yeah. And talk about being relatable. I mean, that's like everything you do now, right?
Yeah,
like
it is exactly everything I do.
Yeah.
And so while, yes, it was a rejection, I didn't like it. It was definitely a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah. I still turned around and made it happen. And I seen that person not very long at Walmart, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And
do you think that they know like how much of an impact that, because sometimes people do stuff
probably not.
And they probably don't know that they affected you that much, right?
Yeah. I don't like being told I don't like being told no.
Yeah.
And I don't like being told I can't do something. I don't care what it is.
Right.
That is a very huge motivating factor for me of watch me.
Yeah.
So it can be good and bad.
Yeah. That's funny. So you saw him, you didn't want to like punch him in the face.
No,
You're like,
no. I actually went and gave him a big hug.
Yeah.
And no, I have a lot of respect for this person.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I want to give you the stage. Where can people find you? Plug in your social media.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have sort of like, public facing social media as well as your business. Go ahead and plug in anything you like.
You can find us, like I said, on all the platforms. On Facebook, we're Heart and Home Realty Co., brokered by EXP. Instagram, it's at sold_by_Shanna.
Okay.
And then, find me on LinkedIn, Shanna Garrett. And so, you can find us across all of them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, super talented Shanna Garrett on the Maverick Podcast. In dreams, we trust.